of a teaspoon of liquid. That's at the Washington Post if you would like to see that. Now, I think we've got Gavin Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad we got that resolved. So there is, as I mentioned, a primary to fill the seat of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, and there are several Republicans vying for that seat. Let's start with his sister, Darlene Graham, who is currently temporarily filling his seat.
Yeah, so like you said, it's a wide open race right now with 10 candidates. The polls just open at 7 a.m., so it's really going to be hard to see the outcome of tonight. Everyone's really expecting this to go to a runoff because no one's expected to get to a majority, and that's based on the polling right now. Again, a lot of folks have jumped in this race over the past 4 weeks that this seat has been open. It's been the month anniversary today of the late senator's death in July. So it's been a very interesting campaign sprint is what I'm calling it, because it has been basically a snap election to get this nomination in the works here. In fact, we just buried the senator 2 weeks ago. So his sister has been in this position, like you said, right after the late senator died. She was appointed by the governor, Henry McMaster, and was urged by President Donald Trump to actually run. He actually spoke about that last night on this tele-rally that he held for Darlene, the senator, and was talking about how he urged her to run, how that's what Lindsey would have wanted. And so it was kind of surprising. We were all kind of surprised when she was first appointed. That was kind of an understandable move right there to appoint her. It's somewhat like a widow appointment. But then for her to go ahead and jump in the race really made things interesting. And I think she has a lot of support from his staff, from the campaign staff. And the name idea, of course, is huge in the state, too. Of course, late senator just won that June primary outright for his 5th term he was seeking. So the name Graham is really well known, but it's also a little controversial, especially among Republican activist voters. And that's why you're seeing such a interesting fight on their hands right now. But Graham has been out there on the campaign stump again. She's just buried her brother. It's been a very fast 2 weeks. She's been up in the Senate. She got that tariff, the sanction bill passed through in the Senate, something that her brother was working on for years to get done. And so she's really trying to make a name for herself in a quick amount of time and getting that support from not only folks up in Washington, but a lot of party insiders, a lot of folks who want to see that status quo, that Graham status quo moving forward in South Carolina. But of course.
So Gavin, there's
yeah.
4 other Republicans running. Can you give us just a quick overview of who they are and what their chances might be?
Yeah, so it is a field of 10, but there's the top 5 that we're looking at, including Senator Graham. There's also Congressman Russell Fry, who's from the Grand Strand, the Myrtle Beach area, which is a very Republican stronghold of the state. But he doesn't have as much statewide name ID as fellow Congressman Ralph Norman, who just came in 3rd in the Republican gubernatorial primary in June. Ralph is up near the area that's right outside of Charlotte. So he has a lot of name ID, has a lot of support from folks that wanted to see him in the governor's mansion. Didn't get there in June, but now he's again has that name ID. Been running a statewide campaign for months now. And of course, there's a lot of similarities amongst all of them, including former governor and former Congressman Mark Sanford, who's rounding out that group. They're all talking about cutting the deficit. They're all talking about affordability issues. And right now, it's also becoming somewhat of a popularity contest for folks who know these people. Again, it's going to be very small turnout today. So it's going to be folks that know these people, that have experiences with these people, that already have some impressions formed of them as well. And then, of course, there's businessman Mark Lynch, who challenged Lindsey Graham in that June primary, but lost with 20% of the vote.
And you said turnout will be low. Why would it be low? And are Republican voters not particularly excited about this primary?
I think they are excited, but it's such an odd time to be, casting your ballot. It's August. A lot of schools are actually going back today. We have had early in-person voting already taking place across the state, so they had 3 days of that. We saw 61,000 folks cast their ballots. So a decent turnout. Again, only Republicans that voted in the Republican primary or didn't vote in the primary can vote in this, so no Democrats can vote in this. But it's just hard to get people out in August. We're in the dog days of summer. People are wrapping up their vacations. It's not really top of mind. And again, it's been very quick, though the text messages and the mailers and the TV ads have been up and running. I think for the really engaged folks, they are paying attention to this, but a lot of folks not necessarily are.
And finally, Gavin, do you think that President Trump's endorsement of Darlene Graham will put her over the top? And
That That's the big question, right? That's what we keep asking ourselves about. That's what we're wondering about. That's what we saw in the governor's primary, just to rewind back in June, where President Trump did endorse Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, but then she got into a runoff with the state attorney general, Alan Wilson, and that's when we saw President Trump come out for both of them, and Alan Wilson actually won that nomination. So a lot of folks are wondering if that might happen again this time around. I've talked to voters. They're not entirely swayed by the president's endorsement, kind of what we heard from in the governor's race, too. I think it helps her, but it doesn't really put her over. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the runoff, because if she gets in a runoff with one of these congressmen, it will be very interesting to see what happens, because they are more politicians. They've been around longer. She likes to say that she's not a politician, has that focus on the family budget, not the federal budget. So it'll be very interesting to see how the runoff plays out. But again, all eyes will be on that endorsement. And he did do a teletown hall with her yesterday, sent a video out yesterday. So it'll be hard to say what he does, if he actually does more videos, if he actually comes down here, or if he does another dual endorsement. That's what we'll be watching the next 2 weeks ahead of the runoff.
All right. Well, that's Gavin Jackson giving us an update on that South Carolina primary. He is host of South Carolina Lead podcast with South Carolina Public Radio. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
I appreciate it.
And we will have coverage, live coverage.